This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. I am Franco Baranda. It's Thursday, the 14th of September, and you're watching Newsline World. We're here to bring you the top stories we've gathered from all over the globe. First, President Bongbong Marcos was urged to restore the power of the National Food Authority to ensure food security amid the increasing rice prices in the country. Russian President Vladimir Putin raises the possibility of military cooperation with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. 20,000 people are feared dead due to the catastrophic floods that devastated the city of Derna in Libya. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's top aide backtracked his remarks after accusing India and China of having weak intellectual potential. And in China's Xinjiang region showcases its modern and hyper-efficient harvesting machines. Our SMNI correspondent Jade Calabroso will tell us more about that later on. These and more for tonight's edition of Newsline World. President Bongbong Marcos encouraged the Singaporean business community to invest in the renewable energy in the Philippines. He also laid down the government's efforts to lower the electricity prices in the Philippines during the 10th ASWIA or ASWIA Summit in Singapore. Sigrid Castañeda has the details.
President Bongbong Marcos attended the Asia Summit in Singapore on Thursday, wherein he talked about the Philippines' readiness to cooperate, especially in the development of an equal and sustainable global community. On the sidelines, PBBM urged the Singaporean business community to consider the Philippines as their investment hub for renewable energy. During the roundtable meeting held with business leaders, Marcos also laid out the government's efforts to lower the electricity prices in the Philippines. According to the president, investors can now have 100% equity in the exploration, development, and utilization of energy sources such as solar, wind, and hydropower. Marcos also said that the additional investment will speed up the country's achievement of its long-term climate targets. The chief executive also shared that Singapore ranks 5th among the top destinations for Philippine products. Last Wednesday, Marcos delivered a speech at the 10th Asia Summit Fireside Chat in Singapore as the first sitting Philippine president to address the Milken Institute's Asia Summit. He expressed his gratitude to the Institute for participating in the Philippine government's goal of creating a healthy business environment as well as opportunities for all. PBBM also recalled the relationship between the Philippines and Singapore, which started at the people-to-people level, and this became the foundation upon which both countries built bilateral arrangements, partnerships, and alliances. PBBM further stated that the investment in the Philippines is in line with global measures to address the impact of climate change and achieve food security. Furthermore, many communities will also benefit from more jobs brought by foreign investments, particularly in the fields of manufacturing and tourism. President Marcos emphasized his administration's 8-point socio-economic agenda that aims to strengthen the continuous recovery and high growth of the economy, as well as the development of priority industries. Reporting this has been Sigrid Castañeda, SMNI News.
Countries in the Middle East and North Africa or MENA region that are dependent on fossil fuels require 20 times greater capacity to transition to renewable energy, as revealed by an international study. Melchizedek Cadis reports.
Assalamualaikum. A report released by Global Energy Monitor called on countries in the MENA region, including Kuwait, to transition of renewable energy and acknowledge the steps taken by some of these countries in reducing their dependence on fossil fuels. According to the report, the capacity of renewable energy sources in the MENA region, particularly in wind and solar energy, has increased to 57% since May 2022. Moreover, there are plans of an additional 9 gigawatts of renewable energy to be ready for use by the end of 2024. The promising indicators of transformation show the significant efforts made by the countries in the MENA region to transition to renewable energy. However, the report also highlights the countries like Iraq, Kuwait, Libya, Oman, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia, Arab countries highly dependent on fossil fuels and among the world's major oil exporters, may face significant economic challenges if the global push forward renewable energy transition continues. The study indicates that the region needs a 20-fold increase in renewable energy sources to replace its current gas-based power generation fully. Based on the latest assessment, the UAE, Oman, and Morocco emerge as potential leaders in renewable energy within the MENA region. Kuwait set an ambitious target to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050 and focus on investing in environment-friendly energy sources despite plans to invest $300 billion in energy sector in 2040. Barakalafikum jamian kanhadang Melchizedek Kadi sa Akhbar SMNI Kuwait.
Libyan nationals in the UAE are worried for their family members after the deadly floods caused by Storm Daniel killed thousands within a week and left a path of devastation across the country. Gratero Amori has the story.
An Emirati-based telecommunications company offered free calls from UAE networks to Libya as an act of solidarity towards their customers, colleagues, and loved ones affected by the devastating floods. UAE's telecommunication giant END announced that its UAE-based customers who are Libyan nationals will receive 30 free international minutes to call for a week until September 20. Additionally, all its roaming customers based in Libya will benefit from unlimited outgoing minutes and 30 incoming minutes for 6 days. According to Libya's National Meteorological Center, Storm Daniel peaked in the northeastern part of the country on September 10. The death toll from the floods has now surpassed 8,000 as the numbers continue rising. As many as 10,000 people are still missing. The port city of Derna, home to 100,000 people, was hit the hardest. The catastrophic floods happened around the same time that a rare and powerful earthquake hit Morocco, which claimed the lives of nearly 3,000 people. Libya, an oil-rich country in North Africa, is still recovering from years of war and chaos since the death of its former ruler Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The long-term conflict divided the country under two ruling powers. The UAE was among the first countries to respond to the deadly floods by sending urgent aid and deploying search and rescue teams hours after the disaster struck the North African nation. Reporting from Dubai, this has been Gratero Omori, SMNI News, United Arab Emirates.
The impacts of climate change are now inevitable as the world has reached the point of no return. That's why Pastor Apollo C. Cablelink is calling for unity to address this issue. Reported by Kaya Villan for the news.
Pastor Apollo C. Cablelink declared that we have now reached the point of no return regarding climate change. This follows extensive flooding that occurred in Libya, resulting in the loss of thousands of lives. Recently, a 7-magnitude earthquake struck Morocco, where approximately 3,000 people died. Because of these events, the good pastor has called on all nations to unite to reduce carbon dioxide emissions and fossil fuel consumption.
Ang ibig sabihin nito, we have crossed the point of no return when it comes to climate change. Ngayon, kung magkakasundo ang lahat ng bansa to reduce the carbon dioxide emission, kasi sirang-sira ng ozone layer, noon pa sinasabi ko, di ba? 2005 pa.
According to Pastor Apollo, nature should be cherished because it is a gift from God. He added that it is also possible that nature may retaliate against humanity due to its greed and neglect.
Kapag sinisira natin ang planetang Earth na binigay sa atin, Sino masisira? Di ba tayo rin? Dahil sa kasakiman at kamunduhan ng tao. Oh. Puro greediness, puro selfishness, puro pang sarili. Kung anong mahahakot nila para sa kanilang sarili gagawin nila. Without caring for the environment. You know, trees are already here without us. And they will remain here without us. If we cut them off, and then we destroy the nature God has given to us in wanton greediness and selfishness, it will all come back to us. Tulad ito, itong mga desierto ito, di nakakabahanon yan. Ngayon, doon na pumupunta. Climate change yan eh. Huwag kayong magtaka, isang araw, ang Pilipinas magkaroon ng snow. Because climate change eh. Oh. Sa Amerika ngayon, they are suffering 120, 130 degrees heat. Napakainit. Oh. Ano lang pinakamandang lugar ngayon? Glory Mountain.
Turcal Pastor Apollo is a well-known environmentalist in the Philippines. He founded the Sunshine Philippines movement and dedicated it to preserving environmental harmony and advocating for the protection of nature. One of the primary showcases of Pastor Apollo's efforts is the Glory Mountain, where thousands of pine trees have been planted. The ongoing planting of pine trees in the Philippines, especially in Davao City, under Pastor Apollo's leadership, has been a significant contribution. What was once a flood-prone area in the southern part of Mount Apo is now a sanctuary for preserved nature.
Tayo nagpasimula ang Sunshine Philippines Movement in our own little way to help mitigate climate change. Salamat naman sa Glory Mountain, we made our own climate change. Napakaganda ng weather doon, pinagpala ng Ama. Ngayon, kung magpapasimula tayo, the effect will be in 10 to 15 years kung lahat magtatanim ng mga punong kahoy para bumalik muli ang ozone, pagkatapos ang carbon dioxide emission mawala, babalik yung dating sigla ng ating planet Earth.
For God and my beloved Philippines, Cablelink, SMNI News.
The Italian island of Lampedusa declared state of emergency after being swamped by thousands of migrants who arrived in less than 24 hours. This challenges Italy's ability to cope with the sudden influx. Justine Nazario reports.
A huge number of migrants arriving in rickety boats from Tunisia have flooded the Italian island of Lampedusa. Over 6,800 migrants arrived in just over 24 hours, surpassing the island's small resident population. According to reports, rough seas in Tunisia delayed smugglers' boat departures, leading to a backlog and a mass arrival in Lampedusa. To manage the situation, Italian authorities arranged for the transfer of migrants to Sicily or Calabria on the Italian mainland using commercial ferries and Coast Guard vessels. Francesca Basil, a spokesperson for the Italian Red Cross on Lampedusa, highlighted the immense effort being made to provide basic services to the 6,000 migrants currently housed on the island. In response to this crisis, France and Germany have announced plans to reject migrants arriving by sea on Italian shores, contrary to European Union asylum system rules. Typically, these migrants continue their journey northward in search of jobs or family reunification in other European countries. Italy's Interior Ministry reported over 120,000 sea arrivals this year, including 11,000 unaccompanied minors, with many continuing their journey to the north by foot, bus, or train. Reporting, this has been Justine Nazario, SMNI News.
Pastor Polo C. Kibuloy has something to say when asked about the people's clamor for former President Rodrigo Duterte to re-enter the political arena. Daniela Paulite reports. Meanwhile, on the other news, Ukraine's top advisor, Mikhail Podolyak, backtracked his words after saying that India and China had weak intellectual potential. Berhil Parba reports.
Mikhailo Podolyak, a key advisor to Ukraine's President Zelenskyy, faced criticism after commenting on India and China. He initially said these countries had low intellectual potential, but later clarified his remarks, blaming Russian propaganda for the uproar. In an interview, Podolyak had criticized India and China, saying they lacked the ability to understand the consequences of their actions, which he attributed to their low intellectual potential. His comments stirred controversy, especially in India.
В чем проблема Индии, Китая и так далее? Проблема этих стран в том, что они не анализируют последствия собственных шагов. Слабый интеллектуальный потенциал этих стран, к сожалению. Да, они вкладываются в науку. Да, Индия послала сегодня луноход, да, и уже ездит по поверхности Луны. Но это не говорит о том, что эта страна точно понимает, что такое современный мир. Эти страны сегодня на этой войне зарабатывают. Эффективно зарабатывают. Точно так же, как Турецкая республика. И это, в принципе, национальные интересы. Красиво звучит. Мы соблюдаем потребности наших национальных интересов. Но получат они возможность купить дешевле сырье.
Podolyak responded to the criticism on social media, saying his words were taken out of context and distorted by Russian propaganda to create conflict. While he didn't deny making the comments, he sought to provide context. He clarified that countries like Turkey, India, and China were rightfully seeking global roles. He stressed the importance of stability, predictability, and adherence to international law on the global stage, which he believed Russia was undermining. Podolyak urged great powers to work together for a stable world. The remarks of Zelenskyy's top aide drew criticism from many Indians on X, formerly known as Twitter, while the Foreign Ministry of China demanded clarification. Previously, Ukraine Foreign Minister had criticized the G20 summit for not inviting them and said that the event held in India was nothing to be proud of. Reporting, this has been Verhil Parba, SMNI News.
The Prime Minister of Poland insisted that his government will not permit the import of Ukrainian grain into the country, firmly opposing any such request. Jean Domingo tells us more.
Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki has stated that Poland will not allow Ukrainian grain into his country's market. This announcement comes as the European Union discusses whether to continue restricting Ukrainian grain imports. On Tuesday, the office of the Polish Prime Minister announced that the country will continue to ban imports of grain from Ukraine, even if the European Union does not extend its embargo beyond September 15. This ban concerns the imports of 4 agricultural products, which are wheat, corn, rapeseed, and sunflower seeds. Morawiecki made it clear that the interests of Polish farmers come first, and they won't allow cheap Ukrainian products to harm their agriculture industry. In a video address he posted on social media earlier this week, the Polish Prime Minister said, and I quote, "The EU is now considering whether to maintain the embargo. I'll tell you how it ends. Poland will not allow Ukrainian grain to flood us. Regardless of what the decision of Brussels officials will be, we will not open the border." End of quote. The European Parliament is set to debate the expiration of the EU's ban on importing Ukrainian grain in several Eastern European countries, including Poland. This ban was put in place earlier, essentially agreeing with the individual bans imposed by these nations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has expressed disappointment, calling it a betrayal of European values if the EU doesn't lift the ban as promised. In response, Ukraine intends to seek arbitration at the World Trade Organization. The dispute has its roots in the EU's initial support for Ukraine during its conflict with Russia by lifting quotas and tariffs on Ukrainian exports. However, this backfired, leading to protests by local farmers in Eastern European countries who face tough competition from Ukrainian imports. While the ban prevented Ukrainian grain from entering these markets, it allowed for the transit of these goods through their territories. However, transportation costs affected the profits of companies that own Ukrainian farms. The study of the Oakland Institute called War and Theft, the Takeover of Ukraine's Agricultural Land, revealed that foreign interests, either directly or through foreign registered companies managed by local oligarchs, control much of Ukraine's farmland. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Jean Domingo, SMNI News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin raised the possibility of military cooperation with North Korea's Kim Jong-un. Daniela Paulita reports.
Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korea's Kim Jong-un have talked about possibilities for a military cooperation in a rare and highly scrutinized meeting between the two leaders that was held recently in Russia. Putin and Kim met on Wednesday at the Vostochny Space Center after the latter arrived via armored train. To recall, the United States has accused Russia of buying weapons for its war on Ukraine and warned that any help would violate UN resolutions. Meanwhile, Putin has also accepted an invitation from Kim Jong-un to visit North Korea. According to Russian media, Putin said he and Kim held their talks at the Vostochny Cosmodrome to help North Korea develop satellites. Kim, meanwhile, declared that he will always stand together with Russia against imperialism, and that Russia has risen for a sacred fight to protect its national sovereignty and safety against hegemonic forces. It can be remembered that North Korea has twice attempted to launch its spy satellite, although it failed. Still, North Korea said it will continue developing such a satellite to strengthen its military surveillance system. This has been Daniela Paulite, SMNI News.
Japan Prime Minister Fumio Kishida appointed the first female foreign minister of the country since 2004. He also appointed more in his new cabinet lineup following a reshuffle. Ria Saito has the details.
Japan's new foreign minister Yoko Kamikawa vowed to enhance the presence of Japan as the nation faces many challenges, including building stable ties with China. Kamikawa became the first female foreign minister since 2004, succeeding Yoshimasa Hayashi in the latest cabinet reshuffle of Kishida's administration. Kamikawa told reporters in Tokyo that she will make steps to raise Japan's interests. The new foreign minister was appointed at a time when the level of relations between Japan and China was already low due to the release of the treated radioactive nuclear wastewater from the crippled Fukushima nuclear power plant into the Pacific Ocean. Kamikawa, 70 years old, was a veteran former justice minister and is a graduate of Harvard's Kennedy School of Government. Aside from Kamikawa, 4 more women featured in Kishida's new cabinet lineup. This comes as Japan fell to 138th place out of 146 countries in the World Economic Forum's report on gender equality in terms of political empowerment for women this year. Ijo, Nihonからサイトリアニュースをお伝えしました。SMNI News, Japan.
More news when Newsline World returns. The new Prime Minister of Cambodia has arrived in China for his first official trip abroad since taking oath last month. Anissa de Guzman tells us more.
Chinese officials warmly received Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet as he arrived in the capital of Beijing on Thursday for a 3-day official visit. During the visit, Hun Manet will meet Chinese President Xi Jinping and other high-ranking Chinese officials. The Cambodian Prime Minister laid a wreath at a monument in Beijing's Tiananmen Square, the exact place where the founding of the People's Republic of China was declared on October 1, 1949. China is Cambodia's largest trading partner and investor, with numerous Chinese-funded projects, hotels, and casinos seen in the capital Phnom Penh and elsewhere around the country. Cambodia, on the other hand, is China's key diplomatic partner and supporter in regional and international forums. Despite his Western education, Hun Manet is expected to continue the strong partnership between Cambodia and China, just like his father and predecessor, Hun Sen, who ruled the Southeast Asian country for nearly 40 years. The 4-star general will also attend a trade and investment expo this weekend in southern China. The event will also be attended by prime ministers of Malaysia, Vietnam, and Laos, as well as senior government officials from Indonesia and Thailand. Di siya Anissa de Guzman, Rangan Chakuntep Mahanakon, SMNI News, Pratet Thai, Sawadika.
Mexico's Congress conducted its inaugural public hearing on UFOs, presenting alleged alien corpses believed to be 1,000 years old. Let's find out more about this report on Carlo de la Peña.
Mexico's Congress recently hosted a public hearing on unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. During the event, attendees witnessed the unveiling of 2 mysterious corpses with shriveled bodies and shrunken heads. These were believed to be of non-human alien origin and estimated to be 1,000 years old. This Mexican Congress hearing, which took place on September 13, was led by Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan, who has dedicated decades to investigating extraterrestrial phenomena. It also featured the participation of Mexican scientists and notable figures such as Ryan Graves, a former U.S. Navy pilot who claimed to have encountered UFOs during his flights. The focal point of the event was the unveiling of 2 mummified specimens reportedly discovered in Cusco, Peru. Researchers at the Autonomous National University of Mexico subjected these specimens to rigorous scientific examination, analyzing DNA evidence using radiocarbon dating to determine their age. However, despite the intensive examination, the so-called alien fossils were found to be covered with a layer of sand. Under oath, Jaime Maussan shared his findings with members of the Mexican government and U.S. officials in attendance. He emphasized that these specimens were not linked to UFO wreckage, but were found in diatom or algae mines and subsequently fossilized. According to Maussan, this suggests that these beings may not be connected to terrestrial evolution. During the event, Professor Abraham Avilob, director of the Harvard Astronomy Department and known for his work on the Umama theory, addressed the audience via video call. He urged the Mexican government to allow national scientists to conduct further studies on the possibility of alien existence. Reporting, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
Work is underway to build the world's largest radio telescope in Western Australia after decades of careful planning. Sheena Selim reports.
The square-kilometer array observatory, described as the most significant science project in the world, is taking shape in a remote sheep station in outback Western Australia. The $3 billion technology will serve as a window to study the origins of the early universe and potential existence of extraterrestrial life. The massive telescope consists of 130,000 antennas and 197 radio dishes. These antennas can map space about 135 times faster than existing telescopes. To power the world's largest radio telescope, the engineers of the ambitious project have designed new electronic devices that are so quiet they can cause less disturbance than a mobile phone on the moon. Experts believe that human-made electronic hums could limit its ability to study the deepest part of the universe. The construction of the gigantic radio telescope will take approximately 5 to 6 years to complete. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Isabela, SMNI News, Australia.
The construction of the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway was a success. And recently, Indonesian President Joko Widodo inspected this landmark project. Cablelink tells us more.
Indonesian President Joko Widodo took a ride on the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway on Wednesday. This is a landmark project under the China Proposed Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. Widodo examined the construction progress at the Halim station in Jakarta and took the train to the Padalarang station in West Java province. Widodo praised the new high-speed railway and described his ride experience as smooth and comfortable. He also hoped that the people of Indonesia will use this public transportation frequently to ease traffic and pressure between Bandung and Jakarta.
4 kali datang ke proyeknya kereta cepat, tapi memang baru pertama kali tadi mencoba, nyaman. Dan pada kecepatan tadi 350 tidak terasa sama sekali, baik saat duduk maupun saat saya berjalan, sehingga ya inilah peradaban.
The high-speed railway connects Indonesia's capital Jakarta and West Java's provincial capital Bandung. It has a speed of 350 kilometers per hour, and the railway spans 142.3 kilometers. This effectively reduces the journey between the two cities from over 3 hours to around 40 minutes. The Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway is the first high-speed railway project that fully uses Chinese railway systems, technology, and industrial components. This is also the first high-speed railway in Southeast Asia. Reporting, this has been Cablelink, SMNI News.
The region of Xinjiang proudly showcased its modern agricultural machinery touted to be efficient during harvest. Let's get to know more about this with Jade Calabrosa's visit to one of the largest manufacturing companies in China.
We are amazed every time we see modern tools used in farming and harvesting in the Philippines. Because as many always say, as a country with many agricultural lands, the Philippines needs modern machinery to improve our harvesting methods. Here in Urumqi, Xinjiang, China, the region touts modern equipment used for harvesting. These modern machines are hyper-efficient and surely made farmers work much easier.
Narito tayo ngayon sa Xinjiang Machinery Research Institute kung saan ginagawa yung mga corn harvesting machine. Isa ito sa pinakamalaking manufacturing company dito sa China.
Built in 2011, the Xinjiang Machinery Research Institute is a China-based company primarily focused on developing, manufacturing, and distributing special equipment. With 700 workers, the institute can manufacture up to 25 sets of machines per day. 20% of its workers came from different ethnic groups in Xinjiang, including the Uyghurs. Among them is 22-year-old Aikerimo Dawuti, an Uyghur who has been working with the company as the head of the platform for 2 years. Aikerimo Dawuti earns 5,000 to 6,000 yuan, or more than 39,000 to 46,000 pesos per month. The company's main products include aviation vehicle structural parts, spacecraft structural parts, engine structural parts, corn harvester, silage harvesting machines, straw feed harvesting equipment, large-scale harvesting equipment, plow, special equipment for processing agricultural products, fruit equipment, and economic crop harvesting equipment, and so on. The Institute is also involved in providing machine processing services and technical support, and most of its products are distributed in the domestic market or within China.
Reporting from Urumqi, Xinjiang, China. For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNI News.
one of President Bongbong Marcos' advisors has proposed a solution to the rice shortage issue in the country. Here's MJ Mondihar with the report.
During a press conference in Quezon City, Presidential Advisor for Poverty Alleviation, Secretary Larry Gadon, laid out suggestions for President Bongbong Marcos to address the rice problem in the Philippines. He stated that his office would draft a policy recommendation to restore the former authority of the National Food Authority or NFA, as it was during the time of former President Ferdinand E. Marcos Sr. During Marcos Sr.'s era, the NFA purchased rice from farmers at high prices, allowing the government to control the rice prices. This encouraged more farmers to cultivate rice after receiving substantial income.
Noong panahon ni Presidente Marcos Sr. ay isa yan sa role na ginagawa ng NFA. And nakita naman natin noon, hindi tayo nagkaproblema ng matindi sa bigas at sa presyo rin ng bigas nung panahon na yon.
It is said that before Marcos Sr.'s time, it was the Chinese traders who controlled the rice prices in the Philippines. However, this changed when the late president established the National Grains Authority, which later became the National Food Authority. During the 70s, the government arrested hoarders and price manipulators. The Defense Department also managed the distribution of rice and corn.
Masasabi ko yan sapagkat buhay na ako nung time na yon.
However, with the enactment of the Rice Tariffication Law in 2019, the NFA's mandate to import rice was abolished. The private sector then was given unlimited authority to dominate rice imports to increase supply in the country. One of Gadon's suggestions to President Marcos Jr. is for the government to regain control over affordable rice and leave the importation of premium rice to the private sector.
Kasi yung mga negosyante naman, I'm sure that tutubo naman sila doon sa mga premium rice sapagkat ang marami rin naman kasi ang ating mga kababayan na gusto din yung premium rice.
During the peak of the 2021 election campaign, then frontrunner Bongbong Marcos expressed his desire to restore the NFA's role as top regulator in the country's rice supply. In fact, the president mentioned suspending the rice tariffication law.
At present, Secretary Gadon is finalizing his policy recommendation and will be submitted to the President as soon as possible. Once the President agrees with his policy recommendation, farmers expect a better agriculture in the Philippines. For Ganabibal of the Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
SMNI and journalists coming from various countries worldwide had the opportunity to visit and explore the largest land port zone in Xinjiang, China. Jade Calabrosa has the rest of the story.
The city of Urumqi, Xinjiang is one of China's trade hubs. Here lies one of the largest international land port zones in the country. Its construction began in 2015. Covering an area of 67 square kilometers, the Urumqi International Land Port Zone is a landmark project in the development of the Silk Road economic belt. Its primary goal is to strengthen trade and connections by land from China to Asian, European, and African countries. The core principle of the Silk Road economic belt is improving roads, railways, and infrastructure for trade that can contribute to the development of countries along its route.
Narito tayo ngayon sa Urumqi International Land Port Zone kung saan makikita na natin kung paano nililipat yung mga container mula dito hanggang sa mga platforms.
According to local officials, the land port has experienced rapid growth due to increased trade in the past year. The number of trucks and cargo trains departing from China to Central Asian and European countries has increased significantly. More than 20 China-Europe Railway Express services operate through the land port, allowing over 200 types of goods, including textiles and machine parts, from China to reach more than 19 countries and 26 cities. The land port area plans to launch more China-Europe Railway Express trains and expand trade routes, especially towards countries in Central Asia and Europe.
Reporting from Urumqi, Xinjiang, China, for God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNI News.
And before we end, may be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. The Father Almighty is so good to me, and I praise Him in His goodness. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit SMNINewsChannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I am Franco Baranda. Thank you for watching Newsline World. And thank you to our beloved pastor, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for the opportunity to be part of this program. May you continue to listen on SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of credible news.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification